Ladies and gentlemen, the University of Oklahoma has been conquered by the World Economic Forum and its agenda. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is not some pie in the sky tinfoil hat craziness. This is a fact. And I'm going to show you this from the University of Oklahoma itself. I'm going to show you this from their own documents and their own stated goals for the university, but not just the university. You see, the city of Norman, the state of Oklahoma, the nation, and ultimately the world. And I'm using in that statement their words, ladies and gentlemen, not my words, not the words of some crazy Alex Jones type, not the words of some anybody else that you want to think or that the world wants you to think is nuts. I'm using the words of the University of Oklahoma. And I'm going to show you this. But before I do that, please like, subscribe, share the channel. If you're watching this later, please hit the bell, share the video. Super chats are open. I'm doing this as a pretty much a profession right now, but I'm trying to bring you information. Although I want to be entertaining, my primary goal is to actually stop what everybody else seems to just be wanting to profit off of. Okay? That's why I have not come out and made myself the story. Right? The story is what is going on here. The story isn't my persecution or the persecution of some other influencer or other person out there. The story is what this is doing to your kids, your community, your schools, ladies and gentlemen. That's the story. And I'll tell you right now, the people sitting high atop the thing want desperately for you to be distracted. They want you to follow every shiny little thing that comes out. They want to catch your eyes so you don't notice where the root of the problem lies, ladies and gentlemen. They desperately don't want you to see what they're doing underneath the surface. So they'll throw out lots of scandalous happenings, things that will catch your attention and divert you away from what is actually going on. This is a bureaucratic monster, ladies and gentlemen. You will not fix this by an election. You will not fix this by grabbing and putting out small fires in small communities. For my Oklahoma audience, I just have a question for you. What is notoriously the wokest, most liberal, most leftist city in the state of Oklahoma? Anybody? I'd love to see it in the chat. Which city in the state of Oklahoma, and we're not talking in the last year, I'm talking about historically. What is the most woke city, the most left-leaning city in the state of Oklahoma? It's Norman, ladies and gentlemen. It's Norman. Why? Because there resides the University of Oklahoma. Everybody knows. It even has its own name, right? The People's Republic of Norman. It was the only city in the state to defund the police. Right? Yes, it was. Not Tulsa, not Owasso, not Jinx, not any Bartlesville, not any of the other cities in the state. Norman, Oklahoma. Why is it that when something happens in the city of Norman or in the schools in Norman or at the University of Oklahoma, it seems that all of the other influencers, all of the other big names want to keep that name out of the mouths of the people. They want to keep that name out of the ears of the people. Why? Why? I mean, let's go to any other school, to any other process at any other part of the state. Let's just not talk too long about the University of Oklahoma or too long about Norman, Oklahoma, despite it being the most left-leaning, the wokest, the most radical city in the state. Why? Ladies and gentlemen, it's because people are making money off of this. And if you put too much fire, too much local eyes, too many local eyes on the root of the problem, we might be in danger of actually fixing it, because Red, Oklahoma actually has the wherewithal and the actual numbers to stop this, and they know it. So they want to divert your eyes anywhere but the city of Norman. I've tried to start several chapters, including Moms for Liberty, including FAIR, including all kinds of different things. I even tried to start my own organization here. And what I do is I either don't get responded to, I've actively had people try to keep me from getting in contact with other people using very means that you would not believe, that you wouldn't think, why? I've heard nothing back from Moms for Liberty for this chapter. Now they're busy. I love Moms for Liberty. But as soon as I started talking about fathers defending daughters, all of a sudden you see this giant group of dads jump out all over the states. Great. But it all diverts. And this, I'm not saying this is intentional. I'm not saying it's not. But it all diverts eyes from the root of the problem. The root of the problem is the University of Oklahoma. The root of the problem is Norman, Oklahoma, and it is designed to fly under the radar. When Summer Boimier came out and did all of her crazy mess, they tried to tamp that down as fast as they possibly could. Very upset that someone like me jumped in and actually told you what was going on, because I'm going to tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, whether you like it or not, the election is over. And whether you like it or not, Republicans in this state, many of them, I'm not saying all of them, but when you have a uniparty, or when you have one party control of a state, you can bet that at least a third of them are Democrats calling themselves Republicans. You can bet that at least a third of them are willing to go either way as long as the price tag is good. And then you can bet that a third of them are actual conservatives and looking out for you. Joy Hoffmeister is the prime example. She was a Republican right up until it was time to be a Democrat, right? And I will never, ever forgive any of the pollsters in this state that were throwing out polls that were complete propaganda to make it look like some of the Republicans in this state were in trouble when they were not, in order to protect them and their narrative before an election. I told you from the very beginning, from day one, from minute one, that Joy Hoffmeister had no chance to win, was not even in striking distance of Governor Stitt. I said the same thing about Ryan Walters. I said it to people in the background who told me, oh, but the numbers, Nope. And I was right from day one. Because polls are used in this state often to project fear so people won't question the narrative. Now, I don't want to spend any more time on that little rant, but I say all of this. I say all of this, ladies and gentlemen, to underscore the fact of the evidence I'm about to show you and that I'm going to show you in many parts over the next few weeks. I'm not going to schedule this. I'm going to do it when it is that I do it, because I've also noticed that there is a little bit of an effort to divert me away from telling you the truth about some of these things. But that's why you need to go to YouTube, hit the bell, make sure you know when it is I'm coming on, because I'm going to give you some information you need to know if it is you want to save your state, if you want to save your country. So here we go. You remember I just put out a short talking about how leftism, how wokeism seeks to remove the personality of your kids, to remove their identity and implant it with a political identity. That is what, ladies and gentlemen, the World Economic Forum, the UN, UNESCO, the United Nations, this globalist plan, that it's not a conspiracy theory. They have it written out on their website. So do me a favor, for anybody out there who's going to call me or anyone else crazy doing this. If you can't read with your own eyes what they're doing and then connect the dots to what is plainly visible, you're the one that's insane, not the person who can read. Got it? Okay. So I'm going to dive right in. I put this in. But the World Economic Forum seeks to remove the identity of your local state government and replace it with a globalist identity, just like the teachers and the administrators and the school boards that support them are doing in your schools, public and private, by the way. They seek to remove, through social emotional learning, through psychological manipulation, through crisis scare tactics, the identity of your child and replace it with a political identity. Replace your faith, your belief system, your very religion, regardless of what it is, with a secular globalist belief system. It is the same process, whether you're talking about this organization to the local and state and national level. It is the same process as it is from teachers to children. It's all indoctrination. So I'm just going to go through this for you. There's been much talk within the Republican Party about the need to secure American borders. While this is important, Republicans in Oklahoma have not just allowed, but at times covertly encouraged a much more dangerous threat to infiltrate the Sooner State. The World Economic Forum's WEF, or the WEF, plan to disrupt and dismantle American sovereignty through the global tyranny of environmental social governance, ESG. The University of Oklahoma leadership, and ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say this. I have been saying this since 2020. I put out a petition to remove President Joe Haraz in early to mid 2021. I had Republicans who are people who were playing Republicans in this city of Norman actively try to tamp that down and brag to me about it in writing. Why? Because they wanted to protect the University of Oklahoma, because they have every intention of profiting off of this agenda. And it goes all the way up to some of the Republicans you think you can trust. And I talk about Republicans right now because guess what? The election's over and Democrats in this state do not matter. They're useless. They have no power. They're here to play foil. They band together. They preach the same message, but and they serve as human shields for the Republicans, supposedly, who are actually doing the damage to you, your state, and your country but especially in this state of Oklahoma. But I brought out a full fronted attack on the administration of Oklahoma. I tried to get a petition started to remove the president of Oklahoma, the University of Oklahoma. And it was tamped down not by Democrats, but by Republicans or people who are claiming to be conservatives. It was tamped down by the people who claim to want to stop the defunding of the police. But ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you this. The defunding of the police was not about defunding the police. It was about instilling a DEI office and making sure that there was a human resources aspect that could make sure that every single person in that would be hired into the city government and into that office and into the police department would be of the same like-minded political belief. And that is how that's how they have transformed and conquered the University of Oklahoma. That's how they have transformed and conquered the city of Norman. That's how they transformed and conquered every single city, municipality, school, whether public or private, from this point. That is the long march through the institutions. And I'm not saying something crazy. I'm saying something that is written by the University of Oklahoma. So let me keep moving here. The University of Oklahoma leadership, including all of the Governor Stitt's handpicked OU regents, all of them, have actively endorsed, funded, and will continue to fund the OU's strategic plan to enact a systemically woke society and community, quote, society and community transformation of Oklahoma, the nation, and the world. This is their words, ladies and gentlemen, their words. On December 1, 2021, OU's Office of the Vice President for Research and Partnerships issued a revision of a document called Strategic Research Verticals. Now, be very careful not to let the sterile sounding title of this document fool you. The 34-page document serves as nothing less than a blueprint for the top to bottom social invasion of Oklahoma by the WEF's woke globalist agenda, complete with, quote, strategies and tactics that define precisely how we, the OU leadership, are going to realize our vision for the future. And Stacy, I hate to say this, OSU may be worse. Go to my Substack and read what's going on at OSU. I will do some episodes on them as well. OSU is not any better. So let me pick up there. Strategies and tactics that define precisely how we, OU leadership, are going to realize our vision in the future. And this is the quote from the document. Now, every picture that I will show in this video is straight from the University of Oklahoma Strategic Research Verticals document. Every single one. And this is a quote from this document. Quote, this ambitious vision is encapsulated in and consistent with the university's recently published Lead On University Strategic Plan. This plan, which was approved by the OU Board of Regents in July 2020, lays out that I'm just going to continue. This is a quote. This plan, which was approved by the OU Board of Regents in July 2020, lays out the university's raison d'etre. We change lives. The lives they want to change are yours, your kids, and everyone's for the future. And that begins, by the way, with removing your kids from your influence. Everything you're seeing in Owasso, everything you're seeing in Tulsa, everything you're seeing everywhere else that is great. I love parents trying to fight, but the source of this problem is in Norman, Oklahoma. It's in Stillwater in part, but definitely the source, the very source, is in Norman. And the regime in this state, which is at least 1/3 of the Republicans here, will do everything they can to keep Norman looking bright and shiny and safe and everywhere else looking as insane as possible so it continues to look safe. But the problem is here in Norman. So I continue with the quote from the document, Research Verticals. We change lives, is what they want to do, as well as a series of pillars. Let me just do the whole quote here. This plan, which was approved by the OU Board of Regents in July 2020, lays out the university's raison d'etre. We change lives, as well as a series of pillars with associated strategies and tactics that define precisely how we are going to realize our vision for the future. This is the plan. So this picture comes from the document and outlines the strategic themes driving solutions to global challenge. I want you to look at this from left to right. On the left, the tools on the left will knit together. I need to fix a couple of things in here. I am my own editor, ladies and gentlemen, and if you notice something, tell me, I'll fix it. But I just noticed something in the writing, so I'll fix that later. But the tools on the left will be knit together to achieve the universal final solution, which is on the right. They are going to knit these together to make these themes, these driving solutions. They're going to use these apparatuses to create a global society by eliminating the identity of your state and local governments and your state and local communities. Did you know? This is just one example, and this is something I'm going to throw in here. Did you know that OU's move to the SEC is going to end Bedlam? If that would have happened 4 years ago, 5 years ago, there would have been such a giant uprising in the state of Oklahoma that it would have ended any plan to move it. But yet, nobody seems to be upset that Bedlam is going to end. They're removing your identity, Oklahoma. Bedlam is a part. When I first moved to the state of Oklahoma, I was greeted by saying, "Which team are you on?" There are only two teams in Oklahoma, OU and OSU. But yet nobody seems to care because nobody's being paid to care. Because they're being paid to actively not care. Because Bedlam is a part of the identity of Oklahoma. And in order to achieve this goal of taking the tools on the left in this picture and turning it into the solution on the right, they have to eliminate your identity as a state. And they're doing that. And part of that is the move from this conference to the SEC. The same thing happened at the University of Missouri in 2015. They don't care about who's winning or losing. And guess what? I'm just going to say this. I firmly believe that the losing season this year, especially when you talk about some of the coaching changes that were made to achieve it, are to disenfranchise some people with OU football at the very moment that they need to be having people's eyes off that process. Whatever we need to do to make things better, right? But I digress. Let's continue. So keep this picture in your mind because I'm going to explain this to you. What is OU's adopted vision for the future? It's to erase Oklahoma as an individual state or entity with its own identity and to absorb it into a unified global identity by systematically devoting every community within the state to the tenets of the WEFs or the UN's or what is now the OU's new global moral belief system. And here are the 4 tenets. These are what are pictured up here. Number 1, compel a universal commitment. Compel or nudge or push or influence people towards a universal commitment to a never-ending quest for environmental justice. Look up here. See it? Environmental, energy, that is the E and ESG, by the way. Okay. Compel a universal commitment to a never-ending quest for environmental justice, which will be used to justify any regulation or policy decision on a global level. It is the E in ESG. ESG is a mixture of communism and fascism. It is a mixture of communism and fascism. I'll explain that in a moment. But basically, what you have is communism at the bottom for the little people, fascism at the top, and governance for the elite, right? But that's what this is coming. So that number one, and this is directly from them, by the way. This is not me being insane. This is not me saying tinfoil hat things. This is me quoting them, except I'm explaining right here. But these are their graphics. So that's number one, compel a universal commitment to a never-ending quest for environmental justice. That's the macro. Okay, that's the top, which will be used to justify any regulation or policy decision on a global level. That is the ENSG. Now, moving down a level, here's the local level. Ready? And you've seen this. This is what DEI did. This is what defunding the police was for, by the way. Keep this in your mind. Okay. Compel a universal, this is number two, compel a universal commitment to a never ending quest for social justice. So we've got environmental justice and we've got social justice. Compel a universal commitment to a never ending quest for social justice, which will be used to justify any regulation or policy decision on a local level. This is the S in ESG. This is why they did defund the police. Not because they wanted to defund the police. They actually want more funding in the police, which you could see they put it all back, but they want their police, not your police. And they used DEI, they used defunding the police to get rid of all of the older cops and the cops that would not agree with them. They either left or were fired or retired. They implanted a DEI office. And why can't the city of Norman find police officers anymore? Why will nobody come in and work for them? Why? It's not just because nobody is applying, ladies and gentlemen. That is part of it, because people don't want to work for that kind of police department. But it is also because the people who are running it are screening people for their political beliefs, just like OU is doing right now. How do I know? Because there is a DEI office there that exists only to do that. Their only job, they aren't marketing. I don't care what anyone says, and I can prove it, and anyone can come on my show and argue with me about it. I would argue with James Lindsay himself and would shut him down over this issue because he knows, and he wouldn't argue with me, I don't think. He would say there's a marketing aspect for it, but it is not marketing. It is a systemic grab of hiring and recruitment designed to transform, DEI I'm talking about, diversity, equity, inclusion, designed to transform and hold an ideology in an institution, designed to transform and hold an institution towards a singular ideology. So anyone that tells you it's marketing or insists that it might be they're wrong. I like these people, but they're wrong. And until they're willing to come on my show or have me on theirs to argue with me about it, they may dismiss me as being crazy or that I don't play well with others, so to speak. Come and have a conversation or shut up. Honestly, I'm done with you. Come and have a conversation or shut up. Talk about me behind my back. Try talking to me to my face in front of people. They won't do it. So I digress. My point is that DEI is the S in ESG, and that's the second level here. Okay? Number three, to compel, and this is all pictured right here, this is all from them, to compel a universal commitment to a never-ending quest for eliminating health disparities or medical justice, which will be used to justify any regulation or policy decision on an individual level. So we've got the global, the local, and the individual. And all is to get people to accept a ESG-focused moral belief system, whether it's at the macro the mid macro or the micro that will cudgel people into the direction that they want them to go. But here's the last part. Here's where the University of Oklahoma comes in specifically. To compel the universal acceptance of an invasive, this is number 4, okay? To compel the universal acceptance of an invasive and ubiquitous surveillance or governance, this is the G in ESG, of the individual as a moral imperative in the name of defense or safety, which will be used to enforce all of the above. This is the G in ESG. And here is how they actually lay it out. This is from their strategic vertical. You have aerospace, defense, and global security. The University of Oklahoma has 3 regent members who work for one company designed to create an aerospace or defense system that in this document proves they are trying to make better the systems they have of tracking you and being able to monitor your movement, your thoughts, even not in some kind of crazy way, but just your emotions, which govern your thoughts, right? At every single damn level. So here are the 4 parts. This is directly aerospace, defense, and global security. See if it doesn't line up. Environmental, energy, sustainability, earth systems. But let's go to aerospace, defense, and global security. Radar innovations, sustainment and modernization, advanced technologies, international security policy. That's what OU is now devoting itself to. And guess what? They have a little pilot school where at NPS, Norman Public Schools, that they don't want anybody to mess with. And so they keep all the eyes out of the wokeness, and they've sent DEI underground into student services. They've done all this stuff, and I've had people around me in this city trying to divert me away, and now they're trying to divert your eyes too by saying, look, it's so bad in Tulsa. Oh, it's so bad in Jinx. It's so bad in Owasso. It's so bad in all these places. None of the places matter if you don't deal with Norman. They don't matter if you don't deal with Norman. I've been broken into. I've been kicked off Facebook. I've been suspended on YouTube. I've been suspended on Twitter. I found 10 people with 10 different devices and have documented and posted it that have logged into my accounts. I've had people blocked that I didn't block. I've had people friended that I didn't friend. I've had tweets and messages sent that I didn't send. All designed to make me look nuts. And then there's a group of people who claim to be on my side or on yours that go out there and say, well, don't talk to him. Anyway, the reason why is because I know this. They know this. They know I know this, and they're determined to either make me ineffective or shut me up. It's because of this. It is all because of this. Now be wary, Oklahoma. What you're going to see now that I've done this video, that I put out this article, is you're going to see this. You're going to see a lot of people saying things like what I'm saying, but they'll conveniently move they'll move the ire, they'll move the attention away from the root of the problem. It'll go to Owasso, it'll go to Tulsa, and these are all things you need to go fight those battles in your cities if you're there. But we need to take the actual public focus to the root of the damn problem. The University of Oklahoma, Norman, Oklahoma. Until you do it, and I'm telling you right now, and I'm going to say the same thing I said to Governor Stitt on October 20th, 2020, sitting there with him and Ryan Walters, the first time I met them both, within an hour eating breakfast, the governor had oatmeal. I sat there with another professor. I sat there with Ryan Walters and several other people and told him about what was going on. So I'm going to tell you the same thing I told him. You're running out of time. But see, I'm not quite convinced when the governor comes out and says that he's, all about sustainability and all about energy and da 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 da. He knows this has been going on. It's being protected by his board of regents, and he's not doing anything about it and hasn't done a damn thing about it. And neither have any of the leadership in Oklahoma's legislature. Neither have some of the conservatives. They've pretended to. They have pretended to. But guess what? The election is done. Governor Stitt, Ryan Walters, all of the legislators that claim to be your most avid conservative people. I don't care what you think of me. Do your damn job. It's not my job to do it for you. It's not the people's job. You were elected to get rid of this. Stop placating the monster because you think that you can profit off of it. It's going to eat you. And if you don't do something about it now, because now you are very smart people and you've had years now of people telling you what is going on, you can no longer claim ignorance. I don't care about your precious little feelings. I don't care about your stupid little ego. You won re-election. Do something. Do something. Because it's all right here. When you have a university, I'm going to finish this. All of these things, these 4 things that I just brought to you, will align together. Aerospace global defense, which is the G in ESG, society and community transformation, that's the social justice aspect, the future of health, which is the same type of cudgel that you saw push through the COVID mandates. You get it? You can work. You don't? You can't. Environmental, which is the global sustainability. We have to cut your job so we can save the planet. How do we know it's going to save the planet? We don't. But guess what? It's all the justification we need if all of the people believe as a matter of faith that the entire planet is going to be blown up if we don't, raise emissions taxes and force you to stop eating beef. It's a belief system. This will align local society vertically with global society through a new definition of collective values. This is also from the Vertical Research Alliance. Excellence, service, innovation, inclusiveness, diversity, collaboration, respect, strategic research verticals, collective values. From page 3 of the OU Strategic Research Verticals document, this graphic and the language that makes up the academic foundations of critical race theory, DEI, radical queer theory, gender theory. This is all the reason you're seeing porn in your schools, ladies and gentlemen. This is it. Yeah, it is. That's the society and community transformation piece. And y'all are focusing on the damn fires. Guess what? We won election. Let's stop focusing on the fires and the people who are starting them or the people who are profiting off of them and go to the root of the problem. Anybody who doesn't do that is just trying to take your money or try to take your attention away. That's where we're at now, and I'm not going to not say it anymore. Not going to not say it. And you can like me or not like me. I do not give a damn. Doesn't matter. To accomplish the local conversion of the new universal belief system, OU is using the same process that Mussolini did when creating the Italian fascist state. The merger of state and corporate power, that's what a university is, by the way. It's a public-private institution that gets state and federal tax dollars, but is really ran by a private group of people. Take that for what it is. The merger of state and corporate power with the mass emotional manipulation of the populace via applied social science, as you can see in the graphic above, right here. It's going to merge all of these things with what is called applied social science. That's the manipulation of a mass populace. They say it in the article, which I'm going to show you. Convergence. Our vision and impact. This is from there. Researchers at the University of Oklahoma will create a new knowledge and drive create new knowledge and drive convergent solutions that impact global grand challenges. At OU, researchers, artists, and designers will move beyond, what do they mean, social designers? Will move beyond traditional boundaries. Beyond traditional boundaries, collaborating across disciplines with policymakers and business leaders to create solutions for a better world. Page 4, OU strategic research verticals explaining the merger of state and corporate power beyond traditional boundaries that exist to protect the individual liberty of the people. Like the WEF, OU refers to this process as convergence. The process of convergence will unify and devote all subject areas within the university, from engineering to fine arts, to nudge society towards achieving one ideological goal, replacing local, state, and national sovereignty with the national with top-down global tyranny. It will do this through a mixture of propaganda, manufactured crisis-induced fear, COVID, and stacked social incentives and disincentives. Here is an article right here, if you go to my article, that actually talks about the WF. It's from the WF. Global business leaders support ESG convergence by committing to stakeholder capitalism metrics. That is what the university is now designed to do. Moving forward, that's the article right there. This is a direct connection. Unless there be any doubt as to whether or not OU has actually signed on to the WEF's plans to use these tactics to invade Oklahoma from the inside out, may I present a direct quote from the University of Oklahoma Strategic Research Vertical's plan of action. This is from their own mouth. The Global Risk Report 2020 of the World Economic Forum identified extreme weather, climate action failure, natural disasters, biodiversity loss, and human made environmental disasters as the top 5 global risks. See it? It's all up here. So pardon me, the University of Oklahoma is quoting the World Economic Forum to justify what it is they are going to take your university to transform your cities and states. All fall into in the environmental category, and the report notes that it is the first time in the survey's history that one category has occupied all 5 of the top spots. So what the Economic Forum is saying right here, what OU is saying, is that all of the health, social justice, the environment, man-made environmental disasters, biodiversity loss, all of these fall into the environmental, or the E and ESG, in some way, shape, or form, because the E is the macro, the S is the middle, and the G is how they're going to use to control you all, is the middle and the bottom. Macro, micro, governance, right? All fall into the environmental category, and the report notes that it is the first time in the survey's history that one category has occupied all 5 of the top spots. OU is uniquely positioned to succeed in these endeavors due to our strengths in engineering, business, weather, water, climate, and ecosystem science, complemented by strengths in Native American, this is the ACID studies, public policy, humanities, and social science. They mean to take over your community, erase its identity, and implant it with this one. And they're doing it one child at a time in every school. They're doing it one administrator at a time in every school. They're doing it one professor at a time in every portion of the college, whether it's music or it's engineering or it's environmental science or it's weather or it doesn't matter. All are being positioned through convergence to go towards this one goal. And they say it right here. It's all on the UN website. That's right, Melinda. It's all there. But I'm taking it and putting it and pointing it at your local, or at least not even yours. If this can happen at the University of Oklahoma, ladies and gentlemen, you better believe it is happening everywhere else, and it can and is happening faster in other places. Since I started coming out with all this, I've had people on the right attack me, try to get me banned. I've actually tracked who has been reporting me for old videos on YouTube because I have a little thing for that. It's people on the right that don't want me saying what I'm saying today. People on the left too, they're working with them as well. And I'm not saying it's all the people on the right. What I'm saying is it's this sliver in the middle, you know, the Uniparty, which exists at least in 1/3 here in Oklahoma, that do not want me telling you the truth. I've had meetings with all of these people. I guess I'm just going to have to show receipts to prove the fact that these people are not above my pay grade because they asked me to meetings. They asked me. They called me and spent hours with me on the phone, trying to figure out what I knew, trying to learn about all of this. And then once I decided I wasn't going to trust them anymore because they were kicking the can down the road so they could run on problems that they had no intention to fix, what'd they do? They attacked me and they got little henchmen to try to discredit me any way they could. And I tell you right now, I have one person who just sits really high in media that has promised me that if anything else like that happens, they're coming after them because they have every single piece of information I've got. So we can talk about the issues or we can go after each other personally. You can come after my audience, fine. I will continue to say what I'm saying. I don't care. But you attack me personally, there will be no more of that. Let's stick to the issues. Here are the issues. We have Republicans in this state who claim to be for you that are working against you. We have a university system that has been ignored by those Republicans because they think they're going to make money off of it because Democrats in this state do not matter. They do not matter. So we need to change with all of the energy that's going towards school boards is great. And we got school board elections coming up in February. But here's my condition. I've been told that, school choice is a good thing. I will support school choice full throated if I get this a removal of all data mining in all schools as a matter of constitutional law in the state of Oklahoma. All data, that no company can mine any data for any reason from children in schools. The second part, that the University of Oklahoma gets completely defunded or reformed with a watchdog group designed to watch what they're doing. And when it comes to data, a constitutional amendment that says in the state of Oklahoma, I don't care if it's constitutional, a law that actually has teeth, enforceable, that says that any company that pulls data from kids and reports it to a central database will be subject to civil and criminal penalty. Let's do it. If you want to go to school choice, all of those need to be done first because just like James Lindsay said, who was quoting me in his most recent essay, and I've got the proof of it, order of operations is important. So I've got more coming out about this. I want to point this out. I've not done anything criminal. I'm not suicidal. I'm not sick. And I have a lot to live for. I've got a baby girl on the way. So if I just end up gone or something, Because, guys, this is real. And this is people that live here in my city. I have proof of lots of different things, but I don't want to go after individuals. What I want is to change this process. What I want is to change what is harming our kids. I want to stop the erasure of the identity of the city of Norman, of the state of Oklahoma, and the United States of America, because that's what this is doing. And it all is meant to link together from university town to university town to university town. Don't underestimate the reason why. Are you upset, Oklahoma, about the turnpike? Who is the Department of Transportation or the Department of Transportation secretary? It's Pete Buttigieg. What was his job? Where are they getting all the money? They're getting it from the transportation department. What was his job before he was before he ran for president? He was the mayor of South Bend, Indiana, a college town. College towns are the links to all of this. Got to stop it. I don't want enemies. I want friends. But I don't. What's worse than an enemy is someone who pretends to be your friend and stabs you in the back, knowing that's what they're going to do. You have friends right now, Oklahoma, that are pretending to be your friends and have been stabbing you in the back for years. We have now won the election. Everybody's gone. Everybody's passed their hurdles. Have them do their damn job for you. That's all I got to say. This is part one. Part two coming very soon. Please like, subscribe, share the channel. Hit the bell. I could use your support financially. Support me. I would really appreciate it. Because I'm trying my best to focus my work at the problem and not get clicks that won't fix the problem. And when I bring up issues, it is mostly just to document them. Just so people will have a record of, okay, this is what happened, because we've seen over and over again people being thrown under the bus, literally and figuratively, over false accusations, over false statements, because they poked the bear, because they've taken on the shadow elements of this society down to your local level that do not want to be exposed, and they will not. To destroy you is no loss. So I could use your support. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, share the video. This is important information, especially if you're in Oklahoma. And I will see you soon. Stay unwoke.